What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Unbearable podcast. I'm Drew Testa, and with me, of course, is always Ryan Voss. Voss, what's going on today?
What up, Drew?
Nothing much. It's a little cold outside, but, I'm sure I'll work through it. And before we really get started, I just want to thank everyone who's been watching our videos and sharing our videos. We asked for 21 subscribers by the end of the week, and by the time you see this video, we will have already hit that. So we just want to thank everyone a lot for the support they've been showing us on the videos so far.
Yeah, you guys actually got us up to 26. So let's go for 30. And also the love on that last video. I mean, over 100 views in the first 24 hours. And I'll probably go up more because it's only been up for 22 hours. That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate you guys for just giving us a view and coming in here to talk some football.
Yeah, we were doing this basically for you guys, so
no,
it means a lot. Yeah, we are.
We're doing this for ourselves. We know we would do this if no one watched, but the fact that you guys are watching, it makes it even more fun.
Means show someone cares, at least.
Yes. All right.
All right, what, dude? What do you mean?
You're supposed to like host this time. You got to bring us to the next part.
Okay. So this week, the Bears have a matchup with a team that so far looks like they're a lot better than what I think a lot of people had thought going into this season, even being without Christian McCaffrey. I don't think a lot of people saw the Panthers at 3-2, but they've looked better than I think a lot of people thought.
Yeah, the Panthers, they started off their season 0-2, and now they're at 3-2, coming on a 3-game win streak. So, I mean, the Bears, this game is a lot more interesting. Going to be a lot more interesting than we thought just a few weeks back. I mean, both these teams right now have playoff spots, and we could be looking at a potential playoff matchup, or maybe if the Bears drop this game, this could be a game that comes back to haunt them, because then the Panthers would have this game up on them. I mean, this game's going to be pretty huge for us already in week 6.
Yeah, and then I felt, they always say every week counts, and sometimes before the season there might be some games that at least fans circle as, easier games, and I think this might have been one of those, but if you look the way the season's shaping out, it looks like it's not going to be like that at all. I haven't watched too much Panthers football this year. I'll be completely honest. But one thing I will comment on is Mike Davis, who is a former Bear, who we basically let go. He's played just as well as Christian McCaffrey so far this season.
Yeah, Mike Davis is going to be a problem for us come Sunday. I mean, the Bears' run game hasn't been the great, slowing that down, and Mike Davis just seems to be feasting. No matter who he plays, he's stepped right into McCaffrey's role. So I think a big key to Sunday is how the defense slows down Mike Davis.
Another thing is, as good as the Bears' defense has been over the last few years, and it has been excellent, one thing I could both agree they have struggled on is screen passes to the running back and wide receivers and dump-off passes to the running back. That just seems to be this Achilles heel for this defense, and I think that's something the Panthers will try to take advantage of. So it was 2018 when we played the Miami Dolphins, and they just screened us to death, and that was ultimately the reason why they won that game. So I feel like Carolina, with the way they play offense and the players they have, is going to try to do that this week.
Yeah, I'm glad that I think the Panthers' strength, and I wouldn't even necessarily call it a strength, but I definitely think they're better on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is really young and doesn't have a lot of proven guys. And then you got the Bears' strength, which is their defense. So I'm glad that we got our two strengths going up against each other, and then I'm hoping that our offense could edge them out. And if you look, I believe the Panthers have like 99 total offensive points scored, and the Bears have 106. So believe it or not, the Bears have put up more points than the Panthers offense this year.
Another thing about the Panthers, someone that we're familiar with, is Teddy Bridgewater. Not only did we see him a couple times a year when he was in Minnesota, but just last year when he had to fill in for Drew Brees, the Saints, when he was with them, kind of blew us out. I don't think anyone was expecting. So Bridgewater has had success against us, but the defense should have more of an idea how to attack him this time around, seeing as they just did play him last year. And hopefully we get those problems fixed.
Yeah, when Teddy played us last year, I mean, he played really good. That might have been his best game of the season. I mean, a lot of people were maybe thinking maybe Drew Brees doesn't need a comeback. They look all right with Teddy. And one thing you got to remember, too, is in the offseason, the Bears made a push for Teddy Bridgewater. I think they saw the way he played in that game, and they were going off to offer him a contract. I think it was a little less than what he got in Carolina, but the real holdup was the Bears weren't ready to say, yeah, you're our starter. They still wanted to give Mitch that chance. So, I mean, it was a real possibility back in March that Teddy Bridgewater was almost their next QB. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch as well. I mean, it's going to be Foles, who they ended up deciding going for, versus Bridgewater, what we could have had.
Yeah, speaking of the Foles versus Bridgewater situation, I think they're really, really similar in terms of play style and just what they're going to give you. I think Bridgewater maybe gives you a little bit more mobility, moving around the pocket. But beside that, they play a similar style. And I think what this game is going to come down to in the long run is who can control the ball longer and whose run game shows up. And I think that's going to be big. And the Bears haven't really been able to get a run game win the last couple of weeks. And it's going to be especially harder this week with James Daniels not playing.
That's true. I mean, that's a huge hole to fill, and I'm going to be interested to see how they fill. They fill it. They talked about Alex Bars, but then they got Rashad Coward back. Maybe even then they signed Jason Spriggs. Maybe he can move over. I mean, they're going to try to find the guy there, and that's going to be huge for an offensive line that was already struggling to get the run game going.
Agreed. So I think we're going to need to run the ball a lot. Let's talk about Carolina's defense because, like you said, it isn't very proven. And we were on the episode yesterday, which I'm sure most of you guys who are watching this saw. We were trying to think of we can name 3 defensive players on Carolina, and both of us had trouble. So although this defense might not have the big name players, so far this year it's played well enough to put them in position to be 3-2. So we can't go into the game thinking that they just can't play any defense because clearly they can't.
Yeah, their defense is young. I mean, I actually looked up their defense before the pod, and they got some young guys like Jeremy Chin. He was a draft pick this year. Yuta Gross Matos. I think that's how you say it. That's my best.
Oh, from Penn State?
Yeah, he's on there.
He was good at Penn State.
What Big Mike was trying to say yesterday, he was saying Shaq Thompson. None of us could figure out what he was saying. But
yeah, I think his mic lagged right when he said that. That's what the problem was.
Yeah, so I mean, they got some guys. But I don't think that they're that good. They have allowed 102 points, which is relatively. I mean, they're kind of slowing offenses down. And the Bears, they've allowed 100 points, so their defenses are actually fairly similar in the amount of points they let up.
Yeah, which like if you're 3-2, you can't just have a completely terrible defense. I think one of the main problems with this Panther team, and maybe why we don't know them, is when you think of big national franchises, the Carolina Panthers aren't one that comes to mind. So they're never going to get that mainstream recognition, and they might be embracing this role of kind of flying under the radar, being a stealthy team. And that could be something that the Bears need to look out for. You can't take any game lightly, especially when it's against a team with a positive record in your conference. And if they just roll in here thinking, oh, they don't have any big-time guys, Christian McCaffrey's out, they don't have a huge stud QB, we're in danger of getting rolled over. So they have to come in here ready to go.
When I was thinking about this game at 2, I immediately went back to that weird game in 2017. I think the Bears were like 2-3, and they went in there and upset the Panthers. I mean, a lot of it came from Eddie Jackson. He was making plays. He was returning the ball on defense. But, I mean, the Bears, I mean, that's when they still had Cam Newton and Luke Kuechly and Greg Olsen, like those guys you think about. So
that was one of Mitch's first starts, if I remember correctly. I believe
it was back in 2017. I mean, I just think about that weird game, and I mean, some of those guys are still around. So I think that we beat them back then. There's no reason we can't now when they don't have a lot of those guys they used to. I'm going to share Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and share your screen. I'll talk while you're pulling it up. But it's like a completely different, like the amount of turnover the Panthers roster has had from last time we played them is kind of remarkable. I mean, you think about a different quarterback, almost a whole different defense. It's kind of unbelievable.
And if I got their defense up right now. Okay. So, I mean, if you look at this,
they got some guys.
Yeah, Brian Burns, he's good in Madden. I don't know how he is in real life.
Yeah.
You got Gross Matos, who talked about Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin. He was out of Illinois. A lot of people wanted the Bears to get him. I've heard of Dante Jackson and Trey Boston, Rasul Douglas. So, I mean, they got some guys, but nothing out here like really jumps out at me like, oh, that guy's a beast. Like, I'm worried about him for Sunday.
It just seems like a lot of like when I look at this, there's no one who is basically a meme. Like, there's no one who's like, oh, this guy's terrible. They look like they have all solid guys who could do their job. But one thing that is concerning is it seems like they have a lack of depth, which the Bears could take advantage of with the way they play offense, quick pace that Nick Foles likes to play.
I think a big thing here we're going to have to do here is slow down. They got 3 wide receivers that you think they could all be, playmakers. You got Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Curtis Samuel. So, I mean,
they have a lot of speed.
Luckily for us, Jalen Johnson and Kyler Fuller has been locking it down. So, same with Eddie Jackson. So, I mean, if we can slow those guys down, what's Teddy got to do? I mean, he's going to have to hand it off to Mike Davis, which I know Mike Davis, and you got to put respect on his name for what he's been doing, but it's Mike Davis. I mean, Mike Davis, who couldn't even – maybe it was Nagy's fault, but he couldn't even get the ball when he was here, and I really if Mike Davis runs all over us tomorrow, Sunday, I'm gonna be pretty upset about it. I mean, it's Mike Davis. It's not Christian McCaffrey that I'm worried about right now.
And going back to what we were talking about, it's an interesting point they said you bring up. It might be Nagy's fault. Mike Davis isn't on the team. You know who else the Bears released when we had a chance to pick him is Raheem Mostert, who's becoming one of the best young running backs in the league. So
Yep.
maybe the Bears running back evaluation just hasn't been very great. But you're right, Mike Davis. With our defense, there's no reason why he should be able to just torch us. He shouldn't be able to play as good as the way Ronald Jones played last week, and that's not really setting the bar very high.
I want to look at the schedule real quick also. So they started off the season against the Raiders, which we know now the Raiders aren't to be messed with. I mean, they got a high-powered offense, even though their wide receivers they're throwing to are Henry Ruggs and Brian Edwards and Hunter Renfrow, who the rookie guys have been hurt. So I mean, I don't know who they're throwing it to other than Darren Waller.
They got a Waller, yeah.
Yeah, and Josh Jacobs running a bit, but the Raiders have proven that they can move the ball around. And then they got the Bucs, and you could say the Bucs, blew them out. That's a 2-score win. So, I mean, that makes me feel good since we blew out the Bucs. Not blew out the Bucs. We didn't get blown out the Bucs like
we took care of the Bucs, yeah.
You got the Panthers. You got the Chargers. The Chargers are what? They're 1-3 or 1-4, something like that.
Yeah, but they've been in every game they've
team.
played. Yeah, they're not an easy game. And Herbert, I know this is kind of going off, but I think Herbert really has something. That guy, I feel like, is going to be something special.
I mean, right now, week 6, he is the best QB right now over Joe Burrow, and we haven't seen Tua. But right now, I'd give it to Herbert. I really like what I've seen out of him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Then they got the Cardinals. They were able to figure out Kyler out, and they had a comfortable win there, and then they kept it close against the Falcons. So 2 of these teams, the Panthers played, the Bears also played, and the Panthers went 1-1, and the Bears went 2-0. So, I mean, they're riding high right now, a 3-game win streak, but they're about to face the Bears, who I think
we're the best team they've played all year. I would say,
even over the Buccaneers. I don't know. I mean, you would really put the Bears over the Raiders, Buccaneers?
We beat the Buccaneers.
I know.
You're telling me going into a game against the Raiders, you wouldn't like our chances?
No, I think our defense could handle them. We could definitely keep them in check. Yeah. So, I think you're right. I think it's fair to say the Bears are the best competition.
Definitely the best team that they've had since they've been on their win streak, for sure.
Definitely. And I also thought I thought it was interesting. The Panthers play the Saints next week, and we play the Saints the week after that. So I definitely think the Saints are going to be watching this game. That's their next.
Yeah, they definitely will be. But yeah, before going back to the Panthers offense real quick, the main thing that they have on the outside particularly is speed. I mean, Anderson's got real good speed. DJ Moore's got real good speed. But speed hasn't seemed to really affect our cornerbacks yet. I feel like they're more get beat by bigger physical guys, at least Kyle Fuller, because we really haven't seen that much about Jalen Johnson yet. So I'm not too worried about that matchup. I think I like our guys with the way Eddie Jackson likes to play back. I mean, there was that one play against Atlanta where Calvin Ridley kind of just burned everyone. But outside of that, speed hasn't really hurt us this year. So I think if that's their biggest strength, I like our ability to kind of cancel that out.
I think you're ready to make picks, or is there anything more we have to discuss here?
I think we can get into some picks. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that the Bears should win this one. I really do. I feel a lot better about this game than I did against the Buccaneers. I was thinking about my prediction. I think it's going to be a weird score. I think it's going to be 30-13. I think the Bears are going to win this comfortably. I mean, I don't think that the Panthers defense is good at all. And I think that Nick Foles is going to get into a little groove here. And the Bears defense is going to be able to shut the Panthers down that don't really have anyone. I mean, I'm not scared of Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not scared of Mike Davis. I mean, they got some wide receivers, but I like our secondary more. So I really think the Bears should win this one handedly. Drew, what's your prediction?
Do you have any bold stat predictions, or do you think any primetime performers?
David Montgomery.
Okay.
I think he's going to get really involved with the passing game. And I don't know if it's just because I got him on my fantasy team, but I just really expect a big week from him this week.
Okay. I don't think the Bears win by that many points.
I know. I'm feeling really good about it.
Yeah, but I do think they will win. I'll say 27-20.
Okay. I mean, you're not that far off as far as how the Bears offense could put up. If the Bears put up – so you say, are they going to miss a field goal, or are they going to kick I mean, they're
I'd
going to
say
miss
it's
extra point or kick 2 field goals?
3 touchdowns, 2 field goals.
Okay. I mean, if the Bears score 3 touchdowns, I'd be thrilled with that. I mean, I just need the offense to get going, and I think this is a good defense to do it against.
I think we're going to be able to sustain drives in this game. I definitely think we're going to be around the goal line a lot. And last year, that was a big weakness for us. So we're going to really, I feel like, have a chance this week to see how we've been working on our goal line offense, because I feel like we're going to be there quite a bit this game.
Here's a prediction for you, actually. I think the reason why I think the game's going to be so high scoring is because there's going to be a defensive score. We've had so many picks. We've had a picks called back. We've had fumbles called back. I think one of these times, one of those are going to go our way. And I just keep thinking about the Curtis Samuel fumble and Eddie Jackson running it back for a score. And I think something like that's going to happen again. I just got this vision in my head.
I would love to see that. We haven't seen a defensive touchdown in a while, so it'd definitely be refreshing to see. Although if they didn't blow that play dead on Kyle Fuller's hit last Thursday, there's another one, we kind of lost out on.
Yeah,
but
it's ridiculous. I think we were up to like 6 of those plays where.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever.
But if that's, I think, all we got, unless you all have anything else to say before we wrap it up.
No, I just want, once again, I appreciate you guys for coming and watching, giving us likes, giving us subs. I mean, it's awesome to see that. I mean, at least people are checking us out, and if you keep coming back and liking it, we're going to keep doing it and we're going to get better. I mean, I bought a mic. I bought a little, you can't see it.
Dropping the stage quality of this.
Yeah, I mean, it was Amazon Prime Day. I took advantage of some deals. I was like, might as well try to make it a little bit more better, because I don't want to be just two guys talking football. I want to have some kind of production level quality here. So
I think what we're basically trying to say is, for us to see the way this is growing, and although it has been a very short period of time, it's been really cool to see, we have this many new viewers, we have this many new subscribers, we have this many likes in this video. It's just been really cool to see the interaction that you guys have shown, and it means a lot to us, for sure.
We completely forgot to mention, we got a pretty big guest coming Sunday. It's no Big Mike. This is a guy, if you know Bears
It's a real
Twitter,
guy.
if you know Bears Twitter, I mean, this is a real guy. This is a guy you should be following if you're a Bears fan on Twitter. So he said he's going to come on, so I think he's going to stick to it. He seems like a man of his word, so I'm really excited. You should be here Sunday so you can check out who we got on. I think it'll be awesome. There's a lot of cool things we could talk about. Yeah,
we don't want to spoil the surprise, but we just want to say come back Sunday, because we're going to have a real legit dude on the show, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Drew, this has been fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys all for tuning in.
All right, see you guys post-game Sunday.